January 24, 2022. This is contained in a press release signed recently by the governor of the Center Region, Paul Beya. Going by the release, families of the 8 persons who died in the stampede incident are to be assembled at his cabinet at 11 a.m. this Friday, February 25, for their share. Meanwhile, the rest of the 47 injured victims will go for VS on February 28 at 9 a.m. A shocking video released on social media shows a man identified as Brice mercilessly beating up a child in a classroom with a machete and a hammer after having rubbed ground pepper on the little boy's skin and asking him to consume the raw pepper. According to first information received, the scene takes place at King's College in Carnaval, a neighborhood in Village Douala 5 subdivision. The child has been beaten on several parts of his body that are seen to have swollen. While the exact cause of the teacher's action is still to be determined, the video has attracted public outrage, with many parents demanding that the teacher be brought to book. It's 5 days now since the government teachers of Cameroon have grounded school activities, protesting against deplorable working conditions, unpaid financial benefits and salaries. The strike action has so far received massive support from Cameroonians, ranging from entertainers to students who have taken up hashtags on social media in favor of the teachers. Hashtag Crémor OTS on a trop supporté, or translated as we've taken a lot, among other messages calling on the government to heed to the demands of the teachers. The teachers, on their part, have expressed total dissatisfaction over a meeting chaired by Secondary Education Minister Professor Pauline Nalova-Lyonga on February 22 to take necessary steps to satisfy the grieving teachers. The installation of members of the Transitional Council of Professional Football will take place this Friday, February 25, 2022 at 2 p.m. at Hotel Montfebe in the nation's capital. The information is contained in a press release signed by FECAFOOT Secretary General Benjamin Didier Banlock. And prior to that, FECAFOOT President Samuel Eto'o met yesterday, February 24, with members of the 2009 General Assembly, major players in the crisis that has persisted in Cameroonian football for 10 years. The majority present decided immediately to stop all the proceedings pending in the courts, from the Court of Arbitration for Sports to the Chamber of Conciliation and Arbitration of the National Olympic and Sports Committee of Cameroon. 44 members or their representatives out of the 76 of the 2009 executive of FECAFOOT responded to Samuel Eto'o's call at the Montfebe in Yaoundé. As a reminder, several members of this General Assembly are now deceased or abroad. FECAFOOT President was equally received in audience yesterday by Minister of Communication, René Emmanuel Sadi. The President of the Judicial Bench of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Fonkwe Fongang, has highlighted on the need to revise the process of obtaining land certificates in Cameroon, which to him has become obsolete, while the General Prosecutor of the Supreme Court, Luke Ndojo, on his part, focused on the media and social networks in the face of the law. This was on February 23 during the solemn opening of the 2022 judicial year, which took place at the Supreme Court. Catherine Ekongwe with details.
The Supreme Court has appealed for legislative reforms to restore the importance of land certificates and land ownership in Cameroon. The court formed the high points of the presentation at the launch of the 2022 judicial year, which took place at the Supreme Court in Yaoundé yesterday. In a discourse at the ceremony, the President of the Judicial Bench of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice Fonkwe Joseph Fonga, elaborated that land titles have lost values and, going by the legal mind, despite the diminishing guarantees and grants any individual the right to own a land.
To rehabilitate the land certificate in Cameroon, it would be necessary to neutralize all the factors that diminish the value of a land certificate as seen above. It is urgent to rid the registration procedure of all the obstacles that undermine it.
The Procurator General of the Supreme Court, on the other hand, frowns at the irresponsible practice by some media organs and the ill of social media, which has created rooms for defamation, hate speech, a gross violation of the right of privacy, which globally threatens freedom and human rights. He used the platform as well to educate the public on the sanctions reserved for those who used the social media to disturb the peace and image of individuals. This event saw the attendance of the Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute and other top state officials.
Taking decisions on stress situations and smarter goals, this is the theme of the first edition of Season 4 Impact Talks, which was launched recently. Impact Talks is a monthly leadership training session for management of enterprises, an initiative of Go Ahead Africa. Lasha Kingsley attended the launching ceremony. His report.
Research on decision-making shows our brains are wired to be more reactive under stress. This means that stressed-out managers and leaders resort to binary choice making, limiting the options available to them. It is within this backdrop that the first edition, Season 4 of Impact Talks, a monthly leadership training session for top and middle management of enterprises, focused on the theme, taking decisions on stress situation and smarter goals.
We came and facilitated, gave some tips on when are the right moment to take a decision and what are the different options. So it's important to use our intelligence. It's also important to modelize, to make sure that, because life is a repetition. So if we have process, it will help us now to make a good decision. And one of the key elements is to know when you are happy, extremely happy, please do not take decision, because you might make promises that you will not be able to accomplish or to fulfill. The second time is when you are too angry, do not take decision, because you might take some decision or say things that you might regret. So it's important now to have a good management of our emotion. It has a huge impact on the decision process.
One of the greatest managers in Africa, Andre Siaka, guest speaker, took to the stage to lecture participants as well as share 3 landmark decisions he took when he was at the helm of Brasseries du Cameroon, GICAM, and the company he manages today. Many participants listened with keen attention as different speakers took turn to lecture them on stress management. One of such participants, a human resource expert, shares her experience after the session.
The take home for me is that, first of all, you have to know yourself. You don't need to have to make decisions when you are under emotions. You have to take a step back and reflect before moving forward. And also you have to manage, I don't know if you say stress in English, but stress is very dangerous when it is not well managed. That is the reason why you have to know yourself and then have a good lifestyle. That means eating healthy, having exercises, sleeping at least, for me, is 8 hours per night, and also making sure that when you are under stress, you find the root cause, because you have what we call good stress and you have other ones that are not good. But when you are under this stress that is not good, you have to identify the root cause to ensure that you have the proper action to solve it.
Impact Talks is an initiative of leadership firm Go Ahead Africa, led by 2010 JCI President Roland Kwame. Impact Talks comes up every month and is held simultaneously on and offline.
And out of the country, 7 African heads of states gathered in Kinshasa on Thursday, February 24, to assess a 2013 agreement aimed at cementing peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo's violence-torn East and the Great Lakes region. The summit was expected to express concern about logistical and other support for armed groups that remain active in the region. The Kinshasa Summit, the 10th in the series, brought together the presidents of the DR Congo, South Africa, Uganda, Angola, the Republic of Congo, Burundi, and the Central African Republic. The summit equally congratulated improved relations between Rwanda and Uganda and between Rwanda and Burundi after a long period of tension. And out of the African continent, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has pleaded with the international community to do more as Russian missiles pounded the Ukrainian capital early this Friday, saying that sanctions announced so far were not enough. Russia launched its invasion by land, air, and sea on Thursday following the declaration of war by Russian President Vladimir Putin. An estimated 100,000 people fled as explosions and gunfire rocked major cities. Zelensky said 137 people were killed on the first day. In a video message released early this Friday, Zelensky said the enemy has marked him down as the #1 target as heavy fighting was reported on multiple fronts. He has continued by saying his family is the #2 target and has promised to stay in Kyiv, Ukrainian capital. Meanwhile, Russian citizens have taken to the street to protest against the attacks, as some Ukrainians have begun fleeing to Poland for their own safety. We've come to the end of today's edition of Prime Flash, produced by Junior Pelama. Thanks for watching, faithful viewers. You have more stories on 3:30 p.m. Prime Info with Gladys Bomotongina and 6:30 p.m. Prime News with Fon Quinta. Coming up next is In the House with Eileen Sama and her ladies. Have a nice time and happy weekend.